Please welcome to the stage, Alexander Bennett!
Thank you very much indeed for coming. 30. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at 30 years old, still renting at 30. Because the housing market's fucked, the economy's fucked, and I spent all my money on velvet. And I wanted to tell you a story that sums up renting in London at the moment. I recently moved in with two people who've both got dogs. So I said to the estate agent, wherever we rent, we need somewhere that's got access to a garden, because we've got two dogs and that's just the thing that the dogs need. And the estate agent said, don't worry, leave it with me. And I thought, oh, I trust this estate agent. I went round to a property that he wanted to show me. It was in quite a nice part of town, so that's a tick straight away. It had 3 double bedrooms, which is what we were looking for, and also a newly refurbished kitchen, which you don't often get in that sort of rental property. I'm looking around going, this could be good. We could be happy here. The dogs could be happy here. And then the estate agent said to me, oh, by the way, let me just show you your access to your garden. And when he said that, he squatted down in the middle of the floor of the kitchen, and he reached onto the floor and he opened up a trap door built into the middle of the floor of the kitchen, and he went, there you are, here's your access to the garden. And I looked down and there's some dark little steps leading down and out. Now, if at any point in your lives you have to leave your own home via the medium of a trapdoor, you've fucked up, haven't you? And you're Pablo Escobar trying to escape the FBI. Also, the trapdoor was directly in front of the doorway to the only toilet in the flat, and there's no way I'm not leaving that open in the middle of the night at least once. And I know I'm a comedian, but I don't want to die in a funny way. I don't want people going to my funeral going, very sad. How did Alexander pass? He had a shit in the middle of the night, and then he fell through a trapdoor in the dark. Ended up half naked in the garden with 2 broken legs. Also, right, I'm a single man, right? Imagine the scenario. I meet a woman, we're having a summer romance, right? Fuck you. It could happen. Summer romance! Dates around town, walks in the park, that sort of thing. I invite her back to my place, not to my bedroom. It's a bit too early for that. She says, well, I've got a nice idea. Why don't we have a lovely glass of white wine in your garden? I say, that sounds like a capital idea, my sweet. I turn to the fridge. I pour 2 glasses of white wine. I turn back to her and I say, now get in the trapdoor! Shouldn't have to rent as an adult because your life has expanded and it overlaps on other people's lives. If you're living with other adults, you overlap on top of each other. I was renting a flat recently, myself, another man and a woman, all renting a flat together. You divide up your individual responsibilities when you rent with other people. So I was in charge of the council tax. The other man I was living with, he was in charge of the rent and sort of general bills. And the woman that we were both living with, she was in charge of the internet, which was a mistake. Because I tried to access the internet one evening, and I couldn't access the part of the internet that I was trying to access. Because it hadn't occurred to her to take off the child safety settings in the internet security features. So the flat then becomes a sort of sad war of silence between me and the other man in the flat, because neither one of us wants to be the first one to say, over breakfast, oh, could you take the child safety settings off the internet, please? Because I'm trying to masturbate in there. I'm trying to wank to hardcore pornography 6 feet away from where you sleep at night. That is how I get to sleep at night. Constantly renting these tiny... Because we live in the UK, the houses are so small. The place I'm renting at the moment is... So, as I say, I'm single. I'm genuinely, deliberately trying to find a short girlfriend because she'll take up less room in the property I'm currently paying for. I'm hanging around roller coaster queues looking for ladies that don't make the grade. Normally, people get to that stage with, a partner. That's how you get somewhere to live. Is you build a life with someone, you get together with someone. Myself and my ex-partner, we never got to that stage, partly because ex-partner, obviously, and we wanted different things. She wanted. She's a wonderful woman, but she wanted children quite soon in her life, and I wanted children not in my life at any point. I don't know if you've ever tried both having kids and not having kids, but it's quite difficult. So as much as we loved each other, we had to go our separate ways. You do the right thing for the person that you care about. She's quite posh. She's from quite a rich family. Like, buy you a flat, rich. And I've thought about it since. I'd happily raise 2 kids I don't want to get on the property ladder. That seems like a totally fair trade to me now. You got a drawer in for the fridge, have you? Stick it on. I own the fridge! But one of the pleasures of getting to rent in the London rental market is I get to talk to a lot of estate agents and a lot of property managers, and I enjoy talking to estate agents and property managers because these are intelligent people who deserve every penny that they make. I'm detecting a level of cynicism in the room. They're solutions people. That's why I like them. You give them a problem, they give you a solution. I was renting a flat, living in the flat. Quite a lot of mice also living in the flat. So I emailed the estate agent saying, there's a lot of mice living in the flat and they're not paying any of the rent. So I'd really appreciate it if you could come over and kill them all. And straight away, solution, email. Got an email saying, mice are attracted to food. So the way to stop mice coming into your flat is to make sure there isn't any food in the flat that the mice can smell. So if you don't want mice in your flat, don't leave any food anywhere where a mouse could smell it. And I read that email and I said to the people I was living with, guys, let's get the cheese board off the floor. Come on, everyone. Why is there so much charcuterie lying around the place? Let's get it on a shelf, shall we? Hey, are you watching the film Stuart Little on that TV? Get that off, they fucking love that shit. And let's tank down some of these Minnie Mouse nudes we had painted. Don't know why they're up there. So it's very rare, given the renting situation, that I spend a lot of time living on my own. But I did recently spend a lot of time living on my own, and I fully lost my actual fucking mind. Because that's what happens. You need to interact with other people to understand yourself and understand the world. You need that communication with other people. If you don't get it, you start to lose your grip on reality, because other people are your grip on reality. And when I was living on my own, I fully lost my mind in a way that I've only ever done once before. You know when you think, I've actually lost it this time? Years and years ago, I was in central London, and I walked into a cafe in central London, and in that cafe, there were 60 people. Every single one of them had a laptop, which was open, and on every single laptop screen was a picture of Keith Lemon. 60 people, 60 laptops, 60 Keith Lemons. Now, if you don't know who Keith Lemon is, you've no idea the kind of quality of life you've had so far. Keith Lemon is a sort of comedy character whose characteristic is that he's sexually aggressive. Like if Mr. Bean assaulted people. With a turkey on his head. And I'm looking at these 60 pictures of Keith Lemon and I'm thinking, OK, best case scenario, this is the Keith Lemon fan club, which is a sentence no one has ever said. Worst case scenario, these pictures are on all screens and we're about to be addressed by our new leader. Quite a wide potential margin of error here. I walked out of the cafe into central London, into Leicester Square, where there was a film premiere happening for the Keith Lemon movie. And what all those people had been is they'd been paparazzi editing their photos of Keith Lemon, and that's why they'd all been there with laptops and pictures of Keith Lemon. So in that moment, I became the only person ever to find out that there is a Keith Lemon movie and react by going, oh, thank Christ for that, Jesus. What a weight off my mind. So what did I learn living on my own for an extended period of time? The main thing I learned is, I don't like me! Not a fan of this guy. And if you're uncomfortable listening to someone talk about how they don't like themselves, unlucky, because I'm now going to do it for an hour. You should be comfortable with it. People are very quick to shut down someone expressing something negative about themselves because they think that that will help them. It won't help them. You've got to let people express themselves emotionally. If you've ever said something negative about yourself in front of one of your friends, you may have got this in response. Hey, don't talk about my friend like that. You're my friend. When you talk about yourself, you're talking about my friend. Don't talk about my friend like that. And when people say that to me, I think they are overestimating how I talk about my friends and their friends. Is there anything worse in life than your friends' friends? This is Brian. We used to work together. We're at the Mediocre Conversation Factory. Only thing Brian and I have got in common is we're both remarkable examples of your bad taste. I'm not even nice to my friends. An example of what I'm like with my friends. Recently, a few of us were drinking in the park because we're cool, and the one of us who's got the most money, he'd spent some of that money on some fancy new sunglasses. And we're in the park in the middle of the day, loads of families around. He's going, hey lads, what do you think about my fancy new sunglasses? And those sunglasses looked ever so slightly unusual, and that is all we needed to call him a paedophile for the rest of the day in a public place, just going, pedo! Pedo glasses! Like, great. All I wanted to do was protect my eyes from the sun, and now everyone is protecting their sun from my eyes. This is not what I wanted to happen. So don't worry if I say something negative about myself. This show is going to go to some dark places. Just enjoy it. I'm just being honest with you. This is how I feel. This is who I am as a human being. But if at any point I feel like I've said something that's a little bit too far, and I sort of feel you recoiling as an audience, I've prepared for that, we've got some relaxing music queued up. So if at any point I feel like I've upset anyone, I'll play that relaxing music, and I'll smile at you, and you'll feel less tense. Can we just hear that nice and loud, Jake, the music through, please? There we go. Nice and loud, Jake. Just, there you go. Cut that there. Cut that there, Jake. Yeah. You may be thinking, this man's very confident. For someone who doesn't like himself. I'm confident doing this. I've been doing this for a very long time. This is where I'm confident. Confidence is part of why I do this. I want real life confidence. This is performative confidence. I want real world, because real life confidence comes from a place of self-love. You have to like yourself. You have to have that self-respect in order to exude that confidence in real life. And I don't have that confidence. I want the confidence of, and some of you might be in a relationship with this person, I want the confidence of people who eat food in a supermarket before they've actually paid for it. That is the fucking confidence I want. And I've been in a relationship with that person, and when I am, I feel like a butler to a teenage medieval prince. The master hasn't yet learnt to pay. I want the confidence of anyone who actually reports a suspicious package on a train. Do you know how suspicious a package would have to be before I said anything about it? It would have to be smoking quite a lot, ticking quite loudly, a little voice inside going, "Goodbye, cruel world!" Take confidence. I went to London Zoo recently, and I went to the tiger enclosure at London Zoo to have a look at the tigers, because that's where they are. And at the tiger enclosure, one of the walls of the tiger enclosure is just like a 2-inch thick sheet of glass, so you can get a good look at the tigers. And there was a little boy, could have been older than 5 years old, this little boy, 5 years old, looking through the sheet of glass at a tiger. And because of the angles at which the tiger enclosure is built, the tiger was able to get right up to this boy's face, and they're making eye contact. A tiger and a 5-year-old. There's maybe 6 inches between their faces at all, 2 of it's glass, and they've got eye contact through the glass like that. And the 5-year-old staring a tiger dead in the eyes. And eventually the 5-year-old said, "Boring." That is the fucking confidence I want. But I don't identify with that 5-year-old. I identify with the tiger, because think about it from the tiger's perspective. What's happened? It's been tranquilized in its natural habitat, sedated, studied, flown over to the UK, sedated, studied, domesticated at least in some way so it can exist safely in a zoo, and then put behind glass so that a child can look it in the eyes and go, boring. And that is how it feels performing stand-up comedy. I'll tell you the most confident thing I have ever seen. The person I'm about to describe is my hero. When I was maybe sort of 9 or 10, my mother took me to see Robbie Williams live in concert. Robbie Williams is not my hero. And he's quite difficult to explain to the Gen Zs. They're not familiar with the concept of a Robbie Williams. He's a pop star. He's very masculine, but very sensitive at the same time. Also, his brand is self-love. That was Robbie Williams' whole thing. He's like, I'm fucking great, and you're great, and you should enjoy me being great. Recently read his autobiography. He's hated himself his whole life. Who'd have guessed? I saw my hero at the Robbie Williams concert. It was before my growth spurt. I was the shortest person at the Robbie Williams concert, which meant I couldn't watch the Robbie Williams concert. I could just see the backs of the heads of the people in front of me. My mother was lost somewhere else in the crowd, and I can sort of hear Robbie doing his thing in the distance, and I'm just looking at the backs of people's heads in front of me. And the woman in front of me fucking loves Robbie Williams. She fucking loves Robbie Williams. She loves Robbie Williams so much that she's not willing to walk over to the toilets, because it means that for a brief moment in time, she'll have to stop watching Robbie Williams. So I watched this woman make a decision. I'm the only person who saw this, because I'm the only person short enough. She looked around, and she squatted down, and she rolled down her jeans and went to the bathroom in the middle of everyone. Now, some of you are upset by that because you're imagining that she had a wee. Now, as an entertainer, that is everything I want from my career. I want people to enjoy what I'm doing so much that they'd rather shit themselves where they are than leave for even a second. Ideally, by the end of this room will stink. There's also the story of a perfect relationship in there, because at no point did she let go of her boyfriend's hand. That woman is my hero. Imagine having that level of self-love that gives you that level of self-confidence. But I don't have that. I don't have self-love. I have self-hatred. And I've narrowed my self-hatred down into 4 easy points, and we're going to work our way through these. So, I don't like myself. I don't like myself because of my body. That's the first thing I don't like about myself. I don't like myself because of some inherent feeling I'm a bad person. That's number 2. And number 3, I don't like myself because of the things I have done. And number 4, I don't like myself because of the things I have not yet done or the things I have not yet achieved. I enjoy horror movies and long walks. If you'd like to go on a date, leave a message. It's a profile that I'm working on. Your body's the easy thing, right? My body is the easy thing. It's the easy thing that my brain can latch onto, and the self-hatred voice can creep in, and it can quit it, because you catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror or a shop window, and the self-hatred voice can get to work on your own appearance, going, "You look weird. You're a weird-looking guy. You're not fat or thin. You're a weird shape. Neither fat nor thin. Looking at you is like watching a Tim Burton film in the wrong aspect ratio. You look weird. You dress badly. You always dress like an undercover cop who's misread the situation. You look terrible. There is CCTV footage of missing children that is less harrowing than one of your selfies." Not quite the music. When I was living on my own, I was doing a lot of mortality maths. This is because I'm still a young man, but I'm old enough to think about my body in terms of its age. And I was doing a lot of mortality maths. Now, you may not know the phrase mortality maths, but you'll definitely understand what it is when I explain it to you. Mortality maths is basically loads of articles on the internet that make you do the maths on your own mortality. It just takes things from your childhood, because in your head, your childhood was relatively recently, because in your head, you're still young. And it just points out how long ago that was to make you feel shit about yourself. And that's the whole point of the article. So it's just endless fucking, do you remember this? Well, it happened ages ago now. So it's rot for your brain. It's just endless articles going, do you remember Jurassic Park? Do you remember Jurassic Park? We're further away from Jurassic Park now than Jurassic Park was from the dinosaurs when it came out. Doesn't that make you feel old? You fucking old prick. Do you remember the date they go back to in Back to the Future? Yeah, they fly. You're so old, that's your fucking birthday, you fucking old creep. Do you remember the baby from the Nirvana album cover? Yeah, never mind. The baby from the album cover. He's so old now, that baby. He's fucking your mum. That's what he's up to. He's giving your mum a good fuck, that baby. He doesn't want to. It would be nice to have something simple to attribute my hatred of my own appearance to. You know, psychologically, that would be easier. I could go, yes, that was the incident, that was the thing that made me feel terrible about myself, and I can focus on that incident and resolve this problem. I wish life were that simple. And I did remember an incident from my childhood that should have made me feel terrible about my body because of what happened. But as an adult, I'm actually very proud of how I emotionally processed it. I realise from the way I've just introduced that, it sounds like the show's about to get very dark in a way it's not going to. So don't worry. What actually happened was, as a young teenager, I was visiting some family friends in Southampton, which in many ways is worse than being molested. And I was playing in a play park. My sister and a family friend were watching me play in this play park. And I was younger than a teenager, maybe 8 or 9. And I'm playing on a thing. And you may not have seen one of these before, but you'll understand what it is when I describe it to you. It's like a roundabout, but instead of standing on the roundabout, you hang from it like that. So it looks like the metal part on the inside of an umbrella. And you hold onto bars and you spin around. Might not have seen one, but you understand the concept. Yep? So I'm playing on this thing, going round, and what I can only describe as a gang of rough Southampton teenage girls approached the park. It was like West Side Story in many ways. They came up to my sister, and they were like, he's got to get down from there. This is our park. He's got to get down from there because this is our park. He's got to get down. My sister said, well, he's just playing. He's just finishing playing. He'll be down in just a second. If you wait just a moment, he'll be down in just a second. And the girls went, no, he has to get down now. And one of them ran over to me, and she tried to pull me off this thing, but all she succeeded in doing was fully pulling my trousers and pants down at the same time, so I'm exposed from the waist down, and I'm now just hanging on and spinning around. I'm helicoptering and helicoptering. This... like an upset in George of the Jungle, just spinning round, penis out. Just visualise that. Can we have the music? Can we visualise that to the music? Just play the music nice and loud. Just coming round. Cut the music there. Cut that. And that should have made me feel terrible about my body. But as an adult, I'm actually very proud because in the sand below, I'd drawn a perfect circle. Let's just go over what the content of that joke was. That's a joke about geometry and me having a long cock. Nah, the real reason I don't like my body is because I grew up in the early noughties where everybody hated fat people and my family called me fat the whole time. Another difficult thing to explain to the Gen Zs, the old hatred of fat people. My mother and sister have got over this attitude. My father, still committed to hating fat people. If I was to offer my father the flaws he would prefer I had, he would genuinely prefer I was racist than fat. That's the lesser of two evils in his head. If I ever said to my dad, Dad, I'm off to join this KKK. Well, it's the first time I've fucked up anything in the show. And why is it the KKK that I trip over? Trip up on, that's not ideal. If I ever said, shut up. But don't. Remember the premise of this bit, yeah? The premise of the bit, he was prefer I was racist than fat. Okay. If I ever said to my father, Dad, I'm off to join this Nazi rally, he'd go, bit of marching, do you good son, you crack on, don't you worry about it. If I ever said to my father, Dad, I'm just off to throw bacon at the local mosque, he'd say to me, so long as you're throwing it and you're not eating it, boy, you crack on. If I ever say to my father, Dad, I'm going to join the KKK, he'd just say to me, I'm proud my son is thin enough to look good in white. It's the worst thing you could have applauded. I do think that how men feel about themselves, their appearance and their own bodies, is very limited by men's clothing, because men's clothing is very limited. Limited number of cuts, styles, fashions, all that sort of thing. I enjoy this moment of the show because I get to look at women in the audience going, yeah. And the men next to them going, what? Talking about straight Western men's clothing, okay? Straight Western men's clothing is so limited, not this suit, it's beautiful, but most straight Western men's clothing is so limited, all of it fits into three categories. All straight Western men's clothing, all of it fits into three categories. Category number one, and you see these guys all the time, is it's just men who have made this decision. I am covering my naked flesh because if I don't, I will be shamed and arrested. And however good that looks just depends on how much money you've got, and it's a pleasure to see so many examples in this evening. Category number two, and this is how we infantilise men, is we let men dress like things that they like. Do you like Star Wars? Yeah? Do you like Star Wars? Well, why don't you wear a T-shirt with a picture of the robot from Star Wars on it? Yeah? Let everyone know that you're unpopular as a child. Are you British, but you like American things? Are you British, but you like American things to the point where it's a bit pathetic? Well, why don't you wear a sweatshirt with the name of an American university you will never even visit across the back of it? Dressed like an American high school jock, you know, the worst people in the fucking world. A look I like to call rohypnol casual. Get it on! And category three, men's clothing, and this is the most important category because it tells us so much about what we think about men's appearances, what that says about men, what that says about what men can be and what we expect men to be. Category three, men's clothing, very simple. It's just suits! Suits! And suits covers so much in terms of what we expect of men. You can bump into 7 different men in the street wearing 7 different suits. They will have 7 different reasons for wearing those 7 different suits. Go down the street, bump into the first man wearing a suit, say, hello there, sir. See you wearing a suit today. Why are you wearing a suit today? And that man might say to you, well, today is my wedding day. It's the happiest day of my life. I'm getting married to the love of my life. So I thought I'd put the least imagination possible into what I'm wearing. Fair enough, sir. Perfectly legitimate reason to wear a suit. Off you pop. Here comes another man wearing a suit. Hello there, sir. Why are you wearing a suit today? I recently got my penis out in a McDonald's play area. I'm due in court, so I have to wear a suit to make that appearance. Fair enough, sir. Perfectly legitimate reason to wear a suit. Here comes another man wearing a suit. Hello there, sir. Why are you wearing a suit today? I'm 70 years old, and I'm going to the pub. So I'm wearing a full suit in order to... You crack on, old boy. You enjoy that pint. Here comes another man wearing a suit. Hello there, sir. Why are you wearing a suit? I am a teacher, and if the children see my regular clothes, they will mock me. And I'm not emotionally strong enough for that. Fair enough, sir. You crack. Here comes another man wearing a suit. Hello there, sir. Why are you wearing a suit? I'm having a family portrait taken, and my parents would like to visualise what I could have been. Fair enough, sir. You crack on. You wear that suit. Here comes another man wearing another suit. Hello there, sir. Why are you wearing a suit today? Why am I wearing a suit? I'm dead. So they put you in a suit, for you must meet the gods in the uniform of your masters. Now, some of you are probably sitting there thinking, it's a little difficult, Alexander, to listen to you talk about not liking your appearance, because you're objectively quite fit. Like quite a good-looking bloke. And what I would say is thank you, but it's not about... It's not about how you feel about my body. It's about how I feel about my body. That's the important thing. You know, there's a chap over here. Don't look at him. There's a chap over here. And his expression changed when I walked on stage. And what that expression says is, my God, do they make statues of this man? And where can I get one? And respectfully, sir, it's not about how you feel about my body, it's about how I feel about my body. There's a chap here who I'm pretty sure is in a relationship. But since I came out, he's been thinking of leaving that relationship. Just for the chance, just for any kind of chat, and thank you. But it's not about how you feel about my body. With respect, it's about how I feel about my body. You'd kill your own mother for one chance to fuck me, wouldn't you? I give the words drowned in the bath. I'm right, aren't I? Thank you for confirming. It's not about how you feel about my body, it's about how I feel about my body. And I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You don't all feel the same way. I'm seeing cynicism around the room. He's not that good looking. He looks like an experienced character actor who specialises in playing disgraced musketeers. It's not a great look. It's not about how you feel about my body, OK? It's about how he feels. He'd kill his own fucking mum. He's a freak, this guy. Thank you for coming. My ex-partner said something to me once that really changed how I think about how I feel about my own body and how I think about how men feel about their own bodies. She once said, apropos of nothing, she said, "I love your balls." I was like, what? I love your balls. We're in a Oaxaca. What are you saying to me? She said, your balls! I love your balls. They're part of your body, the masculinity and all that sort of thing is part of who you are. There, I said it. I'm not taking it back. I meant it. I love your balls. Now, if I was to list the 3 least attractive things about me as a human being, number 1, my personality. Number 2, my tattoo of the Twin Towers, which I got on September the 10th, 2001, when I was 8. And number 3, my balls! There is a reason that dick pics are a thing and ball pics are not a thing. Because penises are how men want to see ourselves. Penetrative, powerful. Balls are who we actually are. Sensitive and vulnerable. So that's the meat of me, right? That's the physical me carrying me around the world. Well, what about the me of me? What about the actual human being, this feeling I have inherently that I am a bad person? Well, one thing I have learnt is that it is difficult to accept things that are true of yourself if other people don't accept them as being true of you. You will all have individual aspects to yourself as a human being and unique characteristics to your personality that are true of you as a person. But if other people don't accept that, it's harder to accept of yourself. And you can build a lot of self-hatred on top of that, because how can you love yourself if you can't accept yourself? On that subject, I am from a working class background, which is something none of you believe because of my entire vibe. It is a fact. It is just a reality of my life. But I still felt awkward about saying that in front of people, like someone was going to come and take that away from me, even though it's the reality of who I am as a human being. I got so paranoid about it, I went on the BBC website, because the BBC website has an online class calculator. And what you do is you put in information about what your parents did for a living, how you grew up, all that sort of thing, and it will definitively tell you what your class background is. Now, aside from the fact I had lots of middle-class friends growing up, I am resolutely from a working-class background. But all the information I've just given you there tells you exactly the kind of working class I am, is I am working class, but I check with the BBC first. The way people define class background is stupid. He's got a Geordie accent, therefore he's working class. It's stupid, it doesn't mean anything, it's surface level. My class background mainly defined by lack of opportunity, and my mother telling me what every meal and piece of clothing cost before she gave it to me. This was absolutely everything, particularly school shirts. Always tell me what it cost before she gave it to me. Hey, £4, bang, school shirt like that. Hey, £3, bang. And I didn't understand at the time, because I was too young, I didn't understand that she was trying to teach me value for money. I thought she was genuinely trying to surprise me with a series of shit shirts. Because what never happened is she went, hey, £4. And I went, oh, Jean-Paul Gaultier, how did you manage? Right? But she was trying to teach me value for money. She wasn't trying to surprise me. I understand that now because I'm older and I'm also a stand-up comedian, and therefore I understand how surprises work, because that's all my job is. It's just surprises at the end of sentences. That's all the joke is. It's a surprise at the end of a sentence. I'm a comedian. I tell jokes. I understand how surprises work. People who work at the London Dungeon, they understand how surprises work. And hitmen, we all understand how surprises... You're not convinced? Okay. Just to establish this isn't a joke, it's just a fact. Does anybody know why flamingos are pink? Just to establish... Why are flamingos pink?
It's because of what they eat, the food they eat.
It's something in the food that they eat.
But if you put them in another habitat and you feed them, they don't necessarily become pink, because it's the pink creatine.
So it depends on the sort of...
Their diet, yeah.
Their diet. Was that also what you were going to say at the back? It was, yeah. You're both incorrect. That is what most people think, but it's not true. The reason that flamingos are pink is because they're all gay. Doesn't mean anything, it's just a surprise at the end of a sentence. I understand how surprises work now. Another thing that is true of me, that... It doesn't mean anything. Another thing that is true of me that some people find difficult to accept, I am a straight man. I am equally as capable of being attracted to transgender women as I am cisgender women. There is no joke here, that is just a real aspect of who I am as a human being. I don't know if it requires cheering. I don't know if the next great queer movement is going to come from me going, I'd fuck 'em. Put me on the posters. But I would, and I will. And... just a real fact about who I am as a human being. And I'm absolutely at peace with that. Other people don't seem to be at peace with that. There's no path through life to just be a man and that be a true thing about you as a person. There's no path through the straight community for that to be a normal thing about you as a person. What an awful thought, the straight community. And there's no path through the queer community for that to just be a normal thing about you as a person. Even my therapist couldn't handle this information. I was in a therapy session and I said to my therapist, mentioned in passing that I'm attracted to transgender women, perfectly happy about the fact. He couldn't handle this. He went fully silent and closed his eyes in the middle of a therapy session after I'd given him this information. Fully quiet, like that, closed his eyes. And he opened his eyes to say only 2 words to himself, not to me. He opened his eyes and he went, "Penetrative mother." How did you get my search history? That's not what I want, okay? If you take nothing away from this show, apart from this, I don't want to be bum bum and mum. I don't want to be bum bum and mum. I don't want her yelling at me how much a strap-on costs. But any part of your personality, you know, the self-hatred voice can graft onto anything about you as a human being and use it to beat you up with. You're wasting your brain! You're wasting your brain! You're quite smart, but you don't do anything with your brain. The last book you read cover to cover had 3D glasses. What does that say about you as a person? You're an alcoholic. Every time you empty your recycling, it sounds like someone bowling a strike. So how do we define ourselves? If we're saying me, I am a bad person, how do I define who I am? How do we define who we are? Well, people do it invariably through art. Dating apps are interesting only in so much as they are a little window into someone's brain where someone has said, describe yourself. And people use art to describe themselves, always. Here's the books I like, the films I like, the music I like, the comedy I like. We define ourselves through art because we connect to art on a fundamental level and we feel like it forms part of who we are as human beings and we connect to artists on a real personal level, so much, sometimes, that we're willing to defecate in the middle of a field full of other people who love that artist. But we're doing weird things with art these days because we're saying of particular pieces of art, this particular piece of art contains a problematic opinion or is made by someone problematic, therefore it needs to be separated from all of the other art. And I think the people doing this are somewhat well-intentioned, but I don't think that improves society by separating out art. And I'm going to explain how I don't think that improves society using a record shop as a metaphor, fully knowing none of you go to fucking record shops anymore. So say some dickhead, right? Some dickhead releases an album and a load of record stores go, well, we're not going to sell your album because you're horrible dickhead opinions and you're a horrible dickhead, so we're not going to sell your horrible dickhead album. All that happens then is that one dickhead record store goes, well, we will sell your horrible dickhead album because we quite like your horrible dickhead opinions, and we're also going to sell loads of other albums by other dickheads, and then all of the dickheads go to one place for their dickhead album with no exterior thought influence, and because they're in the same place, they all know each other, they've got a community, and before you know it, there's a chant and a flag and a problem in society. You do not improve society by separating out art. What you always do, is you put things in context. This is how it should work. Go into a record shop, and you say to the person behind the counter, hello, I'd like to buy the latest Morrissey, please. And that person should say to you, certainly, sir, you'll find it over here in the cunts section. Just have a cunt section, full of the cunts. Got Morrissey, you got James Brown, Google what he did. All the cunts. You can diversify from there, can't you? Because Chris Martin from Coldplay, he's not a cunt, is he? But he is a twat. He goes in the twat section. Over here. And at the back of the store is paedophiles, which is the biggest section of the music store where all the best music is. There's something about ruining someone's childhood that really helps you understand chord progression. That was about 40%. Can we have that music, please, Jake? Just some people over here that need a bit of a smile. back on board. Thank you, Jake. Cut that there. A lot of the judgment of art is coming from the internet. It's people on the internet with absolutely no media literacy whatsoever because arts funding has gone through the floor in this country and other countries over the past 15 years. People with no understanding of what they're watching going, oh, I don't like this. And internet culture has no right to judge proper culture because internet culture is fucking shit. Here's 4 things I noticed about Bridgerton in a TikTok. A lot of my fellow comedians got very successful doing this over the course of the pandemic. And I would like to say, I'm fine with it. People thought that technology was going to democratise the arts. So you can make a film on your phone because the camera's so good. You can make a film on your phone because the camera's so good. What's the last fucking film you watched that was shot on someone's camera phone? It's just an excuse to not put funding and support into the arts. And the arts needs funding and support because otherwise you just get internet culture. And what is internet culture? It's just regurgitated other culture. It takes things from real culture, eats it, takes out all the nutrients, shits it out, eats it again, nutrients go. It's like the human centipede, internet culture. Essentially, it's eating and shitting out the same thing. I might have to explain what the human centipede is. No, because the human centipede is actually 12 years old now. Doesn't that make you feel old? Hey, he's fucking your mum, the human centipede. He doesn't want to. The Human Centipede is a film in which a mad scientist stitches 3 people together, mouth to anus, so they've all got the same digestive... Look at me. They've all got the same digestive tract, and he cuts the ligaments in their knees. They all have to walk around on their hands and knees, and they look like a human centipede. It's a romantic comedy. Sort of like a love triangle, but more of a line than a triangle. Yeah, music, I think. Cut that, just a little burst. At the very pits of my self-hatred, I started to judge myself for the things that I found entertaining, because self-hatred and guilt can latch itself on to anything. And I started to hate myself for my own sense of humour. This is an honest reflection of my sense of humour. I'm not trying to be edgy because I find that sort of thing very fucking tiring. It's just honest. It's who I am as a human being. But I started to judge myself for the things I found funny. And a lot of people do judge people for the things they find funny. I don't know if I often agree with them. I would say the people I've known who've had the most traumatic lives often have the darkest senses of humour. If you're judging them for that, you're probably on the wrong side of things. Also, just in terms of how these things work, bottom line, the worst thing I've said in the past 2 years is the thing that did the most good. As like saying words, literally just the act of saying words, the worst thing I said also did the most good, because I was talking to a friend of mine who was going through something terrible. I said something awful to him because he's got the same sense of humour as me, and he really laughed, and it helped him out of that bad situation. That's how these things work sometimes. My friend and his partner, they'd been trying for children for quite a long time, and they'd been unsuccessful for quite a long time. So they got pregnant quite a few times, and that pregnancy had not come to full term. So they'd achieved what me and my ex never could in both having children and not having children. And I was talking to him late one night on the phone, and he was telling me that they were visited by a friend of theirs who is from a small, well, their family is from a small village in Mexico. And the tradition in this Mexican village is that if a pregnancy in the household does not come to full term, what you do is you light a candle and you put it in the windowsill of that house and you keep it lit at all times, okay? You do that for any pregnancy that's not come to full term, and you keep it lit at all times. And the idea is that it is the spirit of the departing child guiding the spirit of the incoming child into the family home. And my friend said, isn't that a beautiful visual image? And I said, it is. You shouldn't do that. And he said, why not? And I said, well, the way things are going for you, your house is going to look like the Phantom of the Opera's lair. It's gonna look like Meatloaf's filming a music video. What is this, songs of praise? And he pissed himself. It's what he needed. He told his wife, she pissed herself. But that was a medical thing. Now, obviously, the most concrete thing that self-hatred can be built on is your mistakes. Because your mistakes are real. Your mistakes are a real thing that your mind can latch onto and go, you fucked up there. I know you fucked up there. I remember you fucking up there. And if you're anything like me, and I hope you're not, you can build a lot of self-hatred on top of that. Now, I'm not going to go over all of my mistakes with you, because we don't have time, and that is not really the point of what I'm trying to do here. But my mission is to be honest, and if I was going to honestly communicate to you how my mistakes have formed part of my self-hatred, then I needed to find some way of letting you into my head. And I think I found an elegant and artistic solution. I've written you all a fairy tale, and it's your job to read between the lines. Once, there was a man with a deep, dark hole inside himself that he couldn't ever fill. Every so often, he'd invite a woman to get in the hole to see if she filled it up. But they never did. So he spent his life wandering around, inviting women to get inside the hole, but they never filled up the hole. If anything, some of the women made the hole deeper. Then, one day, without him asking, a woman got in the hole all by herself and filled it up. The hole was full, and she was happy, the man was happy, and the hole was full. And then the man thought, I bet I can get another woman in that hole. Some tension. I think because we live in a world where genuinely powerful people take no accountability for their mistakes, we kind of get the impression that no one's taking accountability for their mistakes. I fucking hate myself for my mistakes. I have tortured myself over it. I've built so much self-hatred on top of my mistakes, and I've used it, and it's no way to live. You can't live under your mistakes forever, because you can't improve as a human being. You need to break through that stuff and develop as a human being. You can't live under your mistakes forever. My ex-partner forgave me years ago for cheating on her. She genuinely forgave me, and I was able to build some sort of self-respect on top of her forgiveness, and some sort of forgiveness of myself on top of her forgiveness, because you can't live under your mistakes forever. For me, it was useful to think about it in a wider context. I was able to go, I fucked up! I fucked up! I have fucked up! But the Taliban run a country. On the scale of evil, I'm pretty fine. What's that? What's my favourite fact about the Taliban? Thank you for asking. My favourite fact about the Taliban, and you should all have one, is the Taliban recruit by cold calling people. This is true. They randomly ring people up, ask them a questionnaire, and on the basis of their answers to that questionnaire, they ask them whether or not they'd be interested in joining the Taliban. Now, firstly, I want to know what's on that fucking questionnaire. Secondly, it shows you nothing's ever as glamorous as you think it's going to be, is it? Because the Taliban, right, because they're legit now, right, they run a country, they must be doing that from office space somewhere. They're cold calling. They don't have to do it illicitly now. They can do it from office space. But it's not a big enough operation to take up an entire office block. So somewhere there is shared office space where one of the things happening is the Taliban cold calling to try and recruit into the Taliban. And imagine that you've wanted to be in the Taliban your whole life, right? And you get there on the first day and you're like, yes, finally, Taliban, here we go, Taliban, Taliban, I hope they hear this outside the venue. Taliban, Taliban, Taliban. And a guy comes up to you and he says, hello, mate, you're going to be on phones if you'd like to follow me through to the lift. We share the building with a lot of other businesses. If any of them ask you what we're up to, just say we're a little startup now, but we're really going to blow up in a couple of years. Deaf to the West. Anyway, we can come through here. Toilets are over there, coffee machines over there, and Fridays are dress down Fridays for the men. I presume there's sort of a bit of office banter in the Taliban offices. You know, you've got the guys on the phones, and then you've got the guys, they want to be the guys doing the big jobs. You know, the big jobs. The big jobs. They want to be those guys. Bit of office banter. The big job guys come through the office, see the guys on the phone, ruffle their hair. Make sure you hit your targets. Ooh, you make sure you hit yours. Office banter. And I presume the guys on the phones want to be the guys doing the big jobs, but it is easy to progress within a company that has a high level of staff turnover. So you may be thinking to yourself, congratulations, Alexander, you're morally superior to the Taliban. What an incredible ethical standard you've set for yourself. Why am I talking about the Taliban now? Why am I talking about extremists now? Who do the Taliban recruit? Who do extremists recruit? Who does Andrew Tate, who is an extremist, recruit? It's men like me. It's men who fucking hate themselves. You are vulnerable if you hate yourself, because there is a hole inside of you that anyone can fill with any kind of poisonous ideology that they like. And if everything around you is shit, it is easy to fall down the trapdoor. It's happened to me in the past. You know, nationalism. That's the big one. See it all over the world. See it in Britain. Nationalism. Everything's fucked. Everything's shit. Blame other people. Fill that hole inside of yourself with some nationalism. And if you hate yourself, you are vulnerable to that sort of thing. I've been vulnerable before. I used to live with a lovely lady from Greece. We found out through conversation that she'd never eaten a Yorkshire pudding. And where I'm from, that's against the law. So we wanted to bring my Greek housemate into British culture and the unique delicacy of the Yorkshire pudding. So we made a Sunday roast with my Greek housemate. All the trimmings, gravy, Yorkshire puddings, obviously. Got her involved in making the food. It's very nice making food with someone from another culture, and it's particularly gratifying if they genuinely enjoy the food, and she did genuinely enjoy the food. She sat there going, oh, these are good, these Yorkshire puddings. I might take some of these back to Greece. On the outside, I was playing it cool. I was going, good. I'm glad you enjoy them. On the inside, I was going, fucking get in there, Greek lady! You enjoy the very best of British. Good for you. And then she completely ruined everything. Because she went, I think I know what would improve this. And she went over to the fridge, and from the fridge, she got a full tub of Greek yogurt. And on the roast dinner, she has poured. Now, I am a white English man, and that is the only time anyone's ever been racist at me. There's a hate crime on the plate. There's been a plate crime. I'm upset. I pushed the plate off the table, the plate smashed on the floor, and she fucking loved that, to be fair. You are vulnerable. And you can try and block it out, the self-hatred. It doesn't work, trying to block out the self-hatred. Not how things work. I like a drink. I've tried to use drink to block out the self-hatred in the past. Favourite way of buying alcohol? Self-service checkout. Huge fan. Any other fans of the self-service checkout in the house? Got some fans. Absolutely fantastic. My friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's your favourite thing about the self-service checkout?
It's fast.
It's fast. It's a beautiful reason. Thank you for sharing it, brother. My favourite thing about the self-service checkout is buying alcohol. Because you can scan it through. Close your eyes, and a voice says, someone is coming to help you. And that's emotionally what I need. Alcohol, incidentally, is the reason none of you should ever do an escape room. You'll understand the concept of an escape room, yeah? It's a room, get locked in the room, lots of puzzles in the room, you have to solve the puzzles to unlock the door, get out of the locked room, escape room. Lots of fun if you like games and that sort of thing, which I do. Very expensive, the old escape room, about 50, 70 quid a time just to get out of a locked room. That's a lot of money for one day's worth of entertainment. I say spend the same amount of money on alcohol and get 2 days worth of entertainment, including the escape room experience. What you do on day one is you spend 50 to 70 pounds getting absolutely fucking blackout drunk, mind-wipingly, memory-wipingly drunk on spirit. That is day one's worth of entertainment. Thank you very much indeed. Day two, in the morning, you get the escape room experience, trying to piece together what happens the previous day, using your phone and just clues around you in your own bedroom. The thing you escape is the unknown. A pair of children's shoes. That can't be a good sign. In the pits of my self-loathing, that is what it felt like. It felt like an impossible escape room with puzzles comprised of all my mistakes, and the only way for me to get out would be for me to kill myself, which more people should do in escape rooms. What a unique opportunity to freak out the staff. I can see it now. Your time is up. Hello, your time is... Oh. Steve, we need to make that crossword easier. Trying to block out the self-hatred. The voice is so strong and it can latch onto anything. I don't want to live my entire fucking life with a voice in my ear going, you're a shit human being. You're a shit human being. Maybe the reason you don't want kids is you don't want to see any more of yourself in the world. You certainly offer nothing in a relationship. If a woman wants to know what it's like to date you, all she needs to do is use a vibrator that has batteries that are just about to run out whilst watching a clown hang himself. I hate myself for things I haven't done yet. What kind of a life is that to live? I want to be the version of myself I see in the future, this version of myself that's got things that I don't have and has done things that I haven't done. And I hate myself for not being that person. What kind of fucking life is that to live? I don't like myself because of my body, some feeling I'm a bad person, things I've done, things I haven't done. That is my body, my soul, my past and my future. That is no fucking way for any human being to be. And I've spent a lot of fucking time and a lot of fucking money coming here to tell you people, no matter who you are and no matter what you've done, you should and you deserve to like yourself. Unless you're an estate agent. In which case, die. What do I want, then? If I will only like myself once I have the things I want. Well, I want my career to go well, and I want a relationship I am proud of. Both simple, both complicated. The entertainment industry is difficult. I'm having a nice time. I want to have a nicer time. This is not the most difficult job in show business. The most difficult job in show business is the people who pose for the photos on the front covers of fancy dress packaging. You've never thought about them before, but someone has stood in a photography studio with some twat with a camera going, come on, no one's going to buy a sad banana costume, are they? Crack a smile, where? Got to put you in a legally distinct from a Minion outfit in a second. Got to get you in a yellow slave bean costume, so you've got to hurry up. You know, the Minions are actually 13 years old. Doesn't that make you feel old? They're fucking your mum, the Minions. They want to. I know I can get to that version of myself that I actually like. And it's good to have something to compare yourself to in terms of what you want. And I'm pretty lucky because I know who I want to be. Can we get the piece of music nice and loud, please, Jake? Loud as is sensible, please.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm going to try a new song. pass me a couple more milligrams. My name is Robbie Williams. I can't bear to go out on stage, but I'm in vogue, I'm all the rage. They look up at me and I wonder why. What do they see in this old guy? I will try to hold my hatred in stealth. I will cry despite my fame and my wealth. You say you're fine. I see something odd in the crowd. A lady pooping out loud as I sing my latest hit. She's taking a dump, she's having a shit.
This is what I want.
Was that me?
I want to be able to look at myself and see something I respect.
To be what she wants to be, well, I will try.
Thank you for coming. Good night.
I'll sing to the sky if she can be herself. You say you're a fan. I can stand by myself. You say you're a fan. I can stand by myself. I can stand by myself.